Hello, and welcome back to our continuing adventures on the Let's Defend platform. Today, by semi-popular request, we are taking a whack at the Adobe ColdFusion RCE challenge. So let's see, backstory. Our EDR software was triggered, alerted, and isolated a web server for suspicious use of nltest.exe command. Investigate the Windows event logs to determine what occurred. So I got the lab, no coffee yet. Lab spooling up. Well, that's beautiful right there. I'll go through and get connected to that in a second, and I'll just do a remote desktop connection and pull the files off so I can just work on it locally. Hey, we got a couple of questions. So the testing process utilizes a third-party service to determine if the server is susceptible to remote code execution. What is the complete URL of the third-party service? What is the IP address of the third-party service to determine if the server is susceptible to remote code execution? The attacker drops a web shell backdoor. What is the web shell backdoor script written in? What is the attacker's working directory when injecting the shell script? The web shell was saved to what file? Full execution command string in the web shell backdoor. The attacker creates a reverse shell with PowerShell. What is the IP and port number the reverse shell calls back to? Based on the details of the log, what underlying software is the website coded in? It's got to be Adobe ColdFusion, because it's just in the name. I'm just going to take just a wild stab at it. But we can go back through once we actually go live. Yes, okay. Based on the software the website runs on and the date of the intrusion, what CVE was the attacker likely using to get remote code execution on the server? Oh, well, hooray. Let's see, so if we go connect issue, we bring this back up. And we're going to make our connection. Do I want to connect? Yes, I know this system. I really don't, but hey. And that signs out there because then we've got this. Well, I'm assuming that we are going to make use of the event logs.evtx. That is on the desktop. There was an zip file that was in the recycle bin. I mean, I don't know as to whether or not if they're any different. .6, exactly the same size. And we don't have like 7-zip or anything on there. I'll grab them both just in case. Copy. I need to remember because it's been a little while. Local file system, where am I hiding my Let's Defend work? Yes, there it is, the Let's Defend folder. To the shock and amazement of no one, I swear. And we're just going to paste these in here. Actually, since we're right here, I've got 7-zip installed, so we'll right click, we'll go 7-zip, CRC, SHA, and we'll do SHA 256. Gotta do it separately. And it looks like they are both the same, starting in Delta 315, ending in 5 Foxtrot 91. Okay, so they are exactly the same. So then we'll just get rid of the sysmon operational one that I copied over, and we'll just stick with the event logs, and we'll get that fired up. All right, so that's out of the way. And I have the event file opening up. Okay, that looks like that's finished. So let's see. If we pulled up Event Viewer, I'm gonna have to shrink. Oh God, that's just making it terrible. Great. I was supposed to just like, be able to sit there and adjust the text view. No, I can run disk cleanup for how exactly unhelpful that would be. Well, hopefully, maybe, possibly. Okay, so here's what we got with the thing open. It looks like this occurred in, of all things, 4/20, 2023. Somebody's got a sense of humor. If we go to the very beginning of the log, time-wise, we can see a PowerShell kicking off. PowerShell EC, so encoded. So it's going to be base 64 encoded. Current directory is cfusion21 cfusion bin, which kind of goes with what we expected. I mean, okay, so this must be version, what, 21? 2.1 of Adobe ColdFusion? Probably 21, given how old it is. And we have a PowerShell script we need to reverse. So we're going to go to CyberChef and get that loaded up in the background. And that looks to be about it. So I say that as, oh, did I not hit the translate over? I'll show that in a second. So I'm looking for like www root, see as to whether or not if there's a location inside of there, but there is no, per the logs, there is no C Fusion 21 folder on this, so I'm willing to bet that it is all just going to be whatever sysmon grabbed. So if I've got to, I'll come back to this, but let's just shut this down. Not run up the AWS or Azure bill for Let's Defend. We have what we need. We've got the file. Okay, so we've got this encoded section here at the very start, which looks odd because it's like, okay, why can't you just leave it as is? Why do you have to do something weird, like go through and base64 and code the stupid thing? So we'll go back, CyberChef, and dump that in. And we know that it's going to be from base64. Let me get that out of there. And we end up with what doesn't look like. So let's try some magic. Nothing of interest. What is it? Null? Remove null bytes and see as to whether or not if that looks a little bit better. Okay, we got something more at this particular juncture. Let me see if I'll bring this bigger. Okay. So try $R equals net user slash domain outstring error catch. So it is trying to reach out to webhook site. Token not found. Okay, so something that's old. URLs deleted or expired automatically. So what are you? This is going to be one of those, test your application to see if you can get responses from outside services. Wait, were we looking for one of the questions? Let's see, what is webhook site? Webhook.site generates a free, unique URL and email address and lets you see everything that's sent there instantly. Oh, so they were having the data fed back to them, to that site. Wasn't there a... Let me guess, https://webhook. Well, site, yeah, that would be 4 as opposed to 3. So if we go back to this, and grab that, and bring this back in, and paste that, and submit, Wango Tango. What is the IP address of the third party? So third party is going to be the webhook site. So if we go back to our log, let me guess, there's going to be like a DNS or something else, like DNS query number 22. It asks for webhook. And the query results are 46.4.105.116. Thank God for Sysmon. That's all I have to say. And so we'll take that, do a little bit of copy and paste, hokey pokey. Sysmon for the win, yet again. Okay, the attacker drops a web shell backdoor. What is the web shell backdoor script written in? Okay, so back to the logs. So let's see. Parent command line, command line. Current directory, okay. What's the next thing? Process create cert util. Kicks off cert util decode 123.temp. That looks sus as all get out. To www root cf scripts, so ColdFusion scripts, ColdFusion client, and then some weird so I don't suppose, I guess the hash is actually just going to end up being like cert util, knowing my luck on this. Not that somebody actually grabbed whatever that CFM file is and dumped it through. So if we bring up virus total, and we go do the searching, and we supply the SHA-256 hash that we have been given. Let me guess, it's going to be cert util, provided by Microsoft. Yep, apparently I need to play the lottery. But, so we can see that it kicked off CFM. But there's another portion of script that's in there down at the bottom, where it echoes out what looks to be base 64 with some weird stuff in it. But then basically gives us the command to go through so it dumps it out. So this becomes the 123.temp. And then the next portion is, okay, go ahead and decode 123.temp. And it must be dumping it into www root cf underscore scripts, cf client, and then it becomes the huqvgdofd.cfm. Okay, so let's see if we can't restore that code. So we're going to duplicate. Although I don't think I can put the CyberChef recipes fully in the video description. I think last time I did that, they flagged me for hacking. Gave me a channel strike. So I don't think I can sit there and do that again. But thankfully these are fairly simple. Okay, so we're going to do the same exact thing. We're going to do from base 64, and we're going to ask it to sit there and remove null bytes. All right, let's just stop. Shouldn't be taking that long. Find git temp directory bin bash. So call cmd. Git temp directory. This this looks like XML maybe? Well, that fix the thing. Okay, that looks a little bit more easy to read. Let's try Google searching for the first portion. Because I don't know. I would assume it would be like ColdFusion script. Well, let's see what Adobe says. I mean, they made the damn thing. Or I guess they bought it and then butchered it, maybe? Seems like the way most of these big companies operate. Um, ColdFusion MX. I mean, we got all this stuff, but what? Okay, so I'm looking at the URL, CFML reference. So CFML, what the... I thankfully have never had to actually deal with any place using ColdFusion that I'm aware of. So thank God for that. Great, okay, so there's a language. So what's the name of the stinking language? Okay, Adobe ColdFusion CFML. Since it makes reference to the reference, CFML-reference. What is CFML? Oh, here we go, CFML, ColdFusion, and then it goes just straight to the CFML reference, so the root. But that takes us back to where we were. ColdFusion Markup Language, CFML. So exactly what are we looking for in terms of... So ColdFusion Markup Language? I mean, that seems to be about as good an answer as anybody given the code example that's there. Which I guess would make sense. I mean, if you're exploiting something inside of, or something of ColdFusion, you would use whatever language you would understand. What is the attacker's working directory when injecting the web shell script? So that's going to be what? C:/www root. it's going to be current directory because we don't, the way that they've got the answer keyed, it's looking for a drive path, not a, dot dot to go back. I think that's what's listed as the current directory inside of the PowerShell logs. So to basically show where I'm looking. So we're still in the one where it makes mention of the .cfm file, but current directory is cfusion 21, or yeah, so c:/fusion21 slash cfusion slash bin slash. And that's what I'm going to assume is what they're looking for there. And they want the other slash. Booyah. The web shell script is saved to what file? Now we get to the aspect. Because they've got it formatted for the dub. So it's referencing the CFM file that was written out. And we need the full execution string of the backdoor. Okay. So apparently something should have a bunch of pound signs in it. Like what might be in between the CF execute? I'm willing to bet it does what it sounds like. Oh, so okay, they're going to assume CF is okay. So then we want the E section. I mean, so far this has been fairly simple, but I mean, I would hate to be trying to sit there and figure this thing out if you didn't have Sysmon installed. CF execute. You're going to do exactly what you sound, right? You're not going to throw me any curveballs on this? Executes a ColdFusion developer specified process on the server, which I think is exactly what we're looking for. So we'll take the aspect from here. We will come back to this. Make sure there's nothing extra. You are very close. Uh, Wait, they're showing like a little tick thing. Is there a little tick thing? Like a little circle? And in what they give, they're not looking for like the slash execute, right? In order to basically close or end it. No, because there's only one close tab. So what if it's just as simple as like space? No. Alright, I gotta be missing something here. So I'm gonna just take that, dump it out, and we're gonna look at the command that we harvested out. So left arrow, CF execute, name equals double quote, pound sign P, pound sign arguments. We get A, C, we do output file, get current, or get temp directory, pound sign F, error file is pound sign get temp directory, parentheses, pound sign F, space, timeout equals 1. I swear, when I'm looking at this thing, there's like looks like maybe a space and a dash. Okay, we did find that. CF execute. That's exactly what we've got. But yet, well, it doesn't specify it, but what if we add in the ending portion? It wants the closing brackets. Okay. So I guess if I forget who, no offense, but if you have been trying to go through this, then just I guess think about HTML. Hopefully you know about it in terms of if you do a some sort of opening, there must be a closing. So we open it with the CF and we close it with the slash CF. Apparently that must be something that's enforced in the ColdFusion markup language. The attacker creates a reverse PowerShell. A reverse script. Reverse shell and with PowerShell. What is the IP import number the reverse shell calls back to? We don't see any of that inside of here, do we? No, we just have it kicking something off. So realistically, what we really want to see is what is the contents of this .cfm file? Is that what we're looking for? So we get some PowerShell stuff going on. We get some Windows Defender. Oh, yeah. Let me bring this back up. So I'm just moving further into the day. So here's like 2 seconds from when everything kicked off. We're starting to see the net user or net.exe user/domain, like what we observed in the previous PowerShell script. So we get the DNS that we observed before to all of that. And we got another section of, oh my God. Look at all that base 64. All right, I need another PowerShell window. So I'm gonna go through that base 64 into the window, and we get the same thing. It looks okay, so it looks like we're gonna need the remove null bytes. What do we get? So it looks like we get a bunch of ticks. These like return, like line return, line return. Some expression. Yeah, so it looks like it's PowerShell, but there's some weird stuff with the encoding here. Well, it's PowerShell and I need more coffee. So let's see if we can't just so if we I gotta remember how to do this. Okay, all right. Yeah, we'll just have it do individual sections, and we'll try to, I guess, piece it together that way. Not that I really want to do this. So we're gonna take that. I don't suppose I can make this any bigger, can I? I can. What's the control add? Okay, so that'll make it a little bit easier. So effectively, what we can do is we can get it to place. Oops, I'm covering my face. There we go. we can utilize the ISE that's built into like Windows 10, and I think it's been in other versions as well. We can highlight the open parentheses and the close parentheses. And we do hit F8 on the keyboard, and it runs that small chunk. So what we can see here is that effectively this becomes what we've got highlighted up here. It's not capturing. Oh, there it is. This goes through, it renders that particular portion, and we see text encoding. And apparently the AV on this box has been triggered by something. It is not happy. But this looks like an IP address. That does look like an IP address. I mean, imagine that. And then so I'm assuming the $sign, so it's going to be port 80. Likely. Okay, so we'll take this and we'll get new random, or we'll get random. Yeah, that seems kinda. It's weird how it decides to sit there and put that stuff together, but whatever. This, this, new time spent. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can kind of read in between. Oh, it didn't work. Well, stopwatch elapsed. I suppose. Let me guess, this one's gonna be stop, isn't it? Yep. Watcher. New object. Int. Yeah, so it would have to read the other portions and it would sit there and try to put something like that. Get random. New object. Let me guess, this is going to be basically setting up sockets. Yep, TCP client. Get stream, invoke. Yeah, so this is not perfect, but it doesn't really have to be. New object. System text ASCII encoding. PWD path, so path or print working directory. I guess you're not gonna know. Oh, get bytes. Right. Yeah, which I guess makes sense considering the fact. Flush invoke. Right down the toilet. Watcher. Close. So we've gone through and we parsed these individual aspects. enough that I'm fairly certain we can say it's the only IP that stood out inside of the aspects. So okay, yeah, that worked. And then we're able to confirm that it was ColdFusion because obviously it would not use ColdFusion markup language, and that explains the current working directory. According to the sysmon logs, the C colon slash ColdFusion 20 or Fusion 21. Based on the software the website runs, Adobe ColdFusion, what and date of the intrusion? What CVE was the attacker likely using to get remote code execution on the server? Okay, so ColdFusion CVE April 2023. I suppose we could sit there and just do April 2023 and see what shakes out from there. What was the big thing that was going on with ColdFusion in April of 2023? Access control bypass? Wait, that's July. April 12th, here we go. Aware that CVE 2023 26360 has been exploited in the wild. Limited tech targeting. Oh, so maybe 21 would denote 2021? Maybe? Do they talk about, like, what? Well, technically it's remote code execution. I'm not entirely sure that. Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Not that it does any good. But, okay, yeah, so CVE 2023. So basically coming to that conclusion by effectively just doing a Google search for ColdFusion CVE April 2023. Although, what if we just said April of 2023? I mean, I would have expected something that would have been more than deserialization of data and like. Something to denote more full-blown remote code execution, but so that pretty much spells it out. It's got to be ColdFusion 2021. I mean, obviously we don't know specifics because well, wait, we never did to go all the way through the log file. So why don't we do that? So it's the PowerShell scripts kicking off. Domain trusts. This is the further portion for the last PowerShell script that we hit. So say it's like network logs having been captured, something to denote the system during the time frame to reach out to. Oh, then effectively all we do is we just get started with the PowerShell. Well, is that not a pain in the metaphorical posterior? But at least we're able to sit there and figure it out that that last script kicks off. Oh well, I mean, it is what it is. It's not what it's not. It was interesting. Forced a, I don't think that I've ever sat there and looked at a ColdFusion markup language file before, but hopefully if you're so far into this and you're stuck just on one particular question, hopefully I've been able to sit there and help you actually reach the answers. Um, you're not just running through and just taking the answers as they generate them. You're trying to go through and figure this stuff out. And hopefully I'm still sticking towards, or sticking to the process I originally set out to try to explain as to, why I'm looking for this, that, and the other thing. Um, so it's more of an educational aspect than anything else. Not just a, hey, we'll just wait till Brett does the work and then we'll come in and smack a deck. So yeah, that's all done, right? Yeah, that's all done. I doubt I'm on the scoreboard. This has been here forever and a day. Yep, not on the scoreboard. That's fine. I'm not in this for the scoreboards. I'm in here to sit there and get better. So, different aspects. So, I guess effectively, big shout out to Cyber Gladius for putting this together and giving us the opportunity to stretch our legs with crappy Adobe products in terms of responding to their numerous flaws as becomes apparent. I guess I can never expect to get a job from Adobe now. Oh well. So there we go. That has been the Adobe ColdFusion RCE challenge. Wait, what? Where did my answers go? I did just complete this, or is it all just... Am I smoking crack? Okay, there it is. That's odd. So yeah, basically just CyberChef is your friend in this regard, and the um, PowerShell ISE is also your friend. Remember, highlight the sections in between the um, parentheses. I just entirely brain farted on what the hell those things called. The half circles. The left and right half of the O. And then hit F8 on the keyboard, assuming you haven't done any rebinding. And we'll go through and render that stuff enough to be able to sit there and, in short order, be able to put this stuff together. Although I suppose looking at it, I mean, you'd have to figure out, like with the code. Let me bring that back up on screen. Just like at the very top, we got the text encoding, we've got the aspect here that gives us the port and the IP address. I mean, if you were to sit there and try to put that together, you would be expecting, dot 100 dot 23, but IP addresses don't start with dots. It's 3 octets, or up to 3 digits. The highest numerical value being 255. So it basically turns. So what does it do? Just reverse it then? takes it out of order. 185.100.233.201. Yeah, it's just easier to pull it up inside of PowerShell ISE. And what's not being shown on the screen is my AV engine is freaking the hell out for going through and running aspects of that code. So if you go through and do this way, mind you, you're only executing those small sections. But be aware, this stuff could kick off. So if you are extremely concerned and or paranoid, you can just take it, dump inside of a sandbox, and go from that particular aspect. So that way you can sit there and just roll back to before. Me, I'm not overly worried because worst case, I just rebuild this box. But since we have the IP address, what if we want to go more? What if we want to expand our thought process? And like, what can we dig up? How evil is this IP address? I mean, is it on a bunch of vendors' shit lists? Bitdefender, Cyrate, RG Data, Fortinet. 8 months ago? Yeah. WorldStream BV? Netherlands? Interesting. Deobfuscate PowerShell from Real World Incident CyberGladius, which is the same person, team, organization that, well, at least the name is the same. So what, oh, so they basically took maybe a real world incident that they were involved in and retooled it a bit to tell the story. I mean, that would be awesome. Adobe ColdFusion has a killer RCE vulnerability result. Phew. CyberChef, okay. Power decoder. I have never heard of this before. Malicious PowerShell warning. Yeah, I think I was just talking about that. Dumping inside of a sandbox. What it? Oh, dear Lord, this effectively just. So it's like if you went in this like reverse order and you manage to actually sit there and decode and get the IP address and then dump it into VirusTotal, the first hit underneath, what was that, the details section? Yeah. Will direct you to their own working through of this entire thing. They talk about using power to code. Oh, okay, and that looks a hell of a lot easier to read and understand. Oh, crap, hang on, sorry. Brought that portion back up. So, took the IP address that we found by doing the F8 section inside the parentheses, inside of PowerShell ISE, dumped it into VirusTotal, saw that, 4 engines, vendors pick it up, took a look down, and CyberGladius, which directs us to here. And effectively, it looks like they effectively go over what the IP address is exactly the same, port 80, a lot of this looks like the same. Hmm. Okay. Open source. Deobfuscate. PowerShell scripts obfuscated across multiple layers. Performs code dynamic analysis, extracting malware hosting URLs and checking HTTP response. Can also detect if the malware attempts to inject shellcode into memory. Well, hot diggity damn. This would have made life a bit easier, but just glad I had that trick in regards to trying to run through those chunks to just interpret it. Otherwise, that would have been hell to go through and try to do that. What is that called? Because everything's out of place. Reordering something or other. Oh, I'm just going to effectively waffle. So we see 3012 and how this whole particular aspect. Oh, 0123. So this is the first item. So that's 3. 0 would be here, which is exactly how that turns out. So I guess you could kind of stammer that particular aspect out. And then it's 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 3, 4, which gives us the 185, 100, 233, 201. But it's just honestly just easier just to highlight in between the parentheses and hit F8 and just get that particular aspect. Oh yeah. Yeah, but yeah, yeah, the AV was not happy in regards to trying to run particular aspects from inside here. As heuristics.bzc.pzq.boxster. Uh, so it must have some sort of portion in there for that to sit there and flag. I mean, hooray on the AV for picking up something going on. Although we see that obviously further down the chain, this wasn't going to help much. Well, actually, no, this would have stopped the reverse shell from kicking off, but it doesn't do much of anything to sit there and actually fix the problem with ColdFusion. Oh, crap. Excuse me. Okay, enough waffling. So there we go. Hopefully that's been helpful. Got some changes coming down the pipe. Hopefully that'll mean there will be more time to sit there and try to put things like this together, as opposed to just doing one off every weekend. Try to maybe be able to get something else going. Just a bit up in the air, but we'll see. Oh, I'm not entirely sure if I just want to include a link to this. Although I guess effectively, if you were going to sit there and you either wanted to follow along or you were just looking for a quick way to find the answer, I suppose, I mean, you'd still have to sit there and do some of the work, or I guess maybe blow up the images a bit. I don't know. I mean, it's here at the end of the video. Screw it. I'll throw this one in. So, okay. Again, for the Let's Defend platform, this has been the Adobe ColdFusion RCE, or Remote Code Execution Challenge. Hopefully this has been helpful. And with all that being said, I will see everybody in the next video.